All right, you guys. I have a Ouija board on my phone. We're apostates now.
Oh, yeah. Hail Satan. Don't hail Satan.
Hail Sauron.
What if you walked in here? I'm like, oh shit, I believe now.
I would have a hard time not hailing Sauron though. He's too badass.
Is that Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Sauron is just a cat with an orange on its head.
Sauron is so much cooler than the devil though, like biblically.
Not the one from Rings of Power though. Not that one.
No, fuck that. That didn't happen.
I'm not too happy about it.
But I mean, you know, the devil, like, he was actually pretty chill. Because remember in the Bible, when he went to heaven and God was like, where have you been all this time? And he's like, I've been chilling, walking around on earth. And he was like, have you noticed Job kill his family? It's fucking weird, man.
That sounds
Like one of those memes, feeling cute. I don't know.
Yeah.
Might massacre Job.
And the devil didn't even bring that shit up. You know?
He's probably looking at him like,
probably knew about it.
Yeah.
Like,
He was like, I think maybe he follows you just because, you know, you give him everything he wants. And God was like, is that right?
yeah, like from Django. Is that right?
Yeah.
we'll see who's right.
Yeah. And he said, only don't kill him. That means take his health, everything. Like, good God.
God was a freaking good Lord, no.
Sauron was out there making moves, though.
Yeah.
He made that ring. One ring to rule them all. Sauron's cooler than Satan.
Yes, no, 100%.
In a bad way. Like, he's a cooler villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Satan. Yeah,
Satan didn't come up with all that shit himself. That was God's doing. All right, I don't know. What are you guys feeling?
Well, we said we were going to talk about the dating world for the JWs.
Yes. That is a shift.
We've all been a part of that world, except for Nico.
Yes, but
thank God for you.
He's seen it. He's seen the
Honestly,
whole
I
thing.
was able to do the other thing, which was, you know, date whoever.
Yeah.
And not have an issue.
Yeah.
And he witnessed a Jehovah's Witness relationship when I was dating my ex, and then how that went.
Wow.
Especially after I stopped believing. Good Lord. You know, there's camera
rough.
footage of me talking with her in the car, and you can see because the window's facing the camera. You can see my body language slowly inching away and out of and then opening the car door, like just trying to leave. Where are you going?
What's always that voice?
Bless her. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
Who wants to go first?
Around dating.
Shit. Let's start it off.
Why don't you guys tell us how what you looked for in a sister when you were a part of the religion? Like, what were you told
That's interesting.
would be like the ideal sister that you should try to plan your future with, just so we can get the standards a little bit.
With me, I feel like they tell sisters a lot more of that stuff. Like they tell, you know, obviously they tell the guys too, but they told them a lot of the things about, like, you know, like, oh, if they're on a ministerial service, oh, there's not this, even though like they could be all that and a terrible person.
Yes.
But I was pretty much on board with like a Jehovah's Witness sister that was on the same level as me. Like, I wasn't like a pioneer or anything, but like I went to my meetings, you know, I studied, I believed, I didn't do any of the things. So I wasn't like this insanely judgy or picky guy about it.
Yeah. What about you, Alex? Were there any like specific things you were told to look for in a sister, like in a spiritual sense, as a witness?
My mom didn't really say much about that, shockingly, but she did say, Alex, just make sure she loves Jehovah.
Oh my god.
And that's basically all that she wanted.
Yeah.
She didn't care if she was rich.
Yeah.
But just make sure that she loves
Yeah.
Jehovah. She didn't even mention to make sure she cooks. She just makes sure she loves Jehovah. That's all that matters.
But what if it was? That's the weird thing about it is like if you said, wait, like if she like says she loves Jehovah and she does all those things, but she's also got like Munchausen's by proxy and she's trying to kill me and my kid. But then their answer would be like, then she doesn't love Jehovah because no one who loves Jehovah does that. I'm like, all right.
Or just let Jehovah.
Well, I know for like the girls, it's like you said, we had a lot more standard to look for, I guess. Like you had to be a ministerial servant or a pioneer or serving the congregation in some way, or at least striving to be that. And you were kind of looked down at for like picking a certain brother if he wasn't, baptized or, like I said, a servant of some sort. And that was the standard for us. Like, he should have like spiritual goals. He should want to go to Bethel or join construction work or, special full-time service, something.
If he's not wasting his time, he's not worth it.
Right, exactly. And then I kind of wanted Nico to tell us about normal standards to have, like, in dating. Not spiritual, just, like, normal.
I mean, so with the way that I grew up, I was always taught that if you are looking for someone or a partner, you would try to see if you, like, try to imagine if you could see yourself, growing older with this person. Mm-hmm. So pretty much you're looking for a partner with the intent of the possibility of marriage, but it's not an end all, like, be all thing. It could, like, if you just find this person and you like all these traits that are there right now, just go for it. Instead of just like, you have to have this, like this person has to have this specific trait. If they didn't do well in math in high school, don't go for them because they're pretty much an idiot. I don't want you dealing with any of them. And I'm sure that there's parents out there who are just like that, who don't like their kids to be with someone who's not at a certain, like, level of education. Yeah,
that is a remarkably alien concept.
I know that my ex from high school, she was like, her parents didn't want her dating anyone that was like just ethnic in any way. That she,
well,
she obviously she went against that, but she wasn't allowed to date any, like, a Spanish person, a black person, even someone that's from her parents got mad at her sister for dating someone that was British.
Oh, this is your ex, right?
Yes,
I remember that. And didn't they were mean? They were rude to you, weren't they?
No, her mother knew about me. Her father didn't know about me until, like, they saw me, like, one of the neighbors saw me jumping the fence.
Oh no! Shit! Oh no!
You've ruined it.
And like,
wonderful first
her dad got a call,
yeah.
and then that's when
what do we got here?
Fucking the banjos start going.
That's when she revealed to me. She revealed to her father about me and everything, and it was okay, but I still never met or talked to her parents throughout that whole time. Never met or talked to them.
It was like Little Mermaid.
Father,
I love him. I wish I were black.
the worst thing, and mind you, this is just from one family that has their standards on what their daughter should date. But the worst thing was when I was going to the zoo with her, and I was sitting there. I knew it was gonna rain. I had this big umbrella that could fit like 4 of us under it, And she told me when she got out of the car, as her mom was pulling up to drop her off, her mom saw me sitting there with this umbrella, and she made the joke to say, "Is that a gun he's got there?"
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
Her
This
dad
got so
regularly used the N-word, from what she told me. Her dad regularly.
Oh, so he
used
never
the
found
N-word.
out about you?
No,
Oh
no.
yeah, because we might not have been talking.
I mean, I know. I've been in the house when her dad was there. I was in their closet.
Oh
I
wow.
was sitting. I was
Nico.
in her
Weird.
closet on
That's
on
terrifying.
my Nintendo DS, just chilling, playing games.
That's
and then
brave.
We all had very different dating experiences,
Yeah.
obviously.
she would come in and check on me every now and then until he left.
Man,
That's funny.
sunken place.
But yeah, that was sort of my experience with
That's how exciting.
dating. It's definitely more eventful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know for witnesses, it's mostly about spirituality. They like shove that down your throat. As a young age, you know, like make sure he's spiritual, make sure he loves Jehovah, and he's reaching out, and it's all about spirituality. But I think they like forget the basics of a romantic relationship,
Yes.
which is love.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, no
Well-
matter how spiritual someone is, if you guys don't love each other, it's not going to work out. You can have the same goals for God, I guess, or in this religion, but there has to be like some form of chemistry, and I'm not sure that the witnesses believe in that,
Yeah.
No.
or that chemistry in general is a good thing.
And it's weird because I feel like they don't realize it, like that it's not like the guys in the congregation are unaware of what's being said.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys that I know were just striving for that stuff so that
Yeah.
they could even be considered, because
Yeah.
they knew that if that weren't the case, they were just going to be alone. It's like, what am I going to do? Start talking to a worldly woman and then nobody talks to me ever again? Like, I better waste all my time
Yeah.
immediately.
And there were like obviously more sisters than brothers most of the time, so you didn't really have like, I mean, the guys could pick whoever, but like for the women, like there aren't that many choices if you're going off of those standards. At least like not genuinely, like you said, there were a lot of people who just went after those things, those positions, just so they could put it on their resume, I guess,
Yeah.
to help them find somebody. So just not like a good thing to teach. Like you should teach love and connection and like, you know, taking your time. And while they do tell you to take your time, it's not really true, because congregation culture is like, you've been talking to this person, you've been dating for how long? Like, you should be
Get married before you
engaged.
mess up.
Within a year of it sometimes.
Right,
It's like, that's a
exactly.
little, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Like, there should be more thought into this before that step, because that is such a step.
Mm-hmm.
And it's yeah, that is not really being taught.
Yeah, and for some reason, it's getting like younger and younger, you know? Like I got married at what, 21, 22? I dated for like a year and almost 2 years, but like we were like young, we were kids, which is, you know, I don't know who I was at 21 years old. Like,
Goodness.
I know people now getting married at 19, 20 years old,
God.
like,
That's so confusing to me.
And they're
because
seeing it as like, this is normal.
yes,
Yeah,
and it's
and,
like
you know,
seen as a good thing, because what was that term that they used?
the bloom of youth.
The bloom of youth,
Yeah.
right. But like wanting to beat your fleshly desires, like you said, like not mess up, like
Yeah.
you gotta. It's just such a horrible like culture of dating.
Yeah, but I find it really weird, you know, that they sort of push that without explicitly pushing that, you know, but they do push, like, you know, early baptism and stuff, and you know,
Right.
nobody's gonna marry anybody who's not baptized. I remember after I got
Right.
baptized, there were a couple of chicks who wouldn't have given me the time of day that were,
Mhm.
you know, like, you know, coming up to me like, oh, congratulations. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Man, you don't talk to me, like,
Yeah.
I'm with you. But I think it's really weird when they're supposed to be following the example of Jesus, who in the Bible didn't even get baptized until he was like over 30, but 30. And they're like, hurry up, baptize your kids at 12.
Right.
They need to be ready for Armageddon. Like, it's so bizarre.
Ideally, they want you, I hear a lot, or heard a lot before I left, like getting baptized before high school so that you could like face the temptations better, basically.
Because God lays on that Holy Spirit
when
you get baptized.
So they want you to be
so
like fully indoctrinated before you go to high school and start like using your brain a little bit. They're
I don't know. I think I remember people getting disfellowship a lot less before they got baptized.
Oh my God.
I mean, would it seem like after you got baptized, more eyes would be on you?
Yes.
That's how it works.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Like now you're
So
like.
then-
You're an example.
Now you're on the ballot. Like now somebody can pick you. If you're not baptized or a baptized witness, another baptized witness, or they won't like date you. It's not allowed. You can't be unevenly yoked. Is what they call it.
So you're not even you're technically not even a person until you get
Well,
baptized.
you're not a
You're not
real
eligible,
Jehovah's Witness.
yeah.
You are
That's
somebody
what
who
I'm
has
saying.
grown up. No, you're a person. You're just someone who might die at Armageddon real easy.
Right.
You know? Maybe you might be saved. You know.
Who knows? God knows. You know.
We'll find out. When we get
Yeah.
there.
Pretty much.
That was a weird side note. That I remember. I feel like I was like 16 or 17 or something, and I was like reading through this magazine, and I got to this scripture that said, do all of these things or something, and probably you might be saved. And I remember I was like, wait a minute. I looked into it again, and I looked into the Bible, and it said probably you might be saved. I was like, how was that said? We'll see how it goes, man. After you've done all this stuff.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Yeah.
It's a long line.
Yeah. Accidents happen. It's Armageddon,
Yeah, fuck.
But if you die then, it's...
Are you one of our 2,144,000?
Yeah, how many have there been by now? I'm like, oh, God, I wish we could... Wait, there's probably got to be a way to get the numbers of the partakers.
No, I don't think they keep track.
Oh, they stopped taking track.
Of course, because
They were like,
anymore.
no.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you imagine...
Stop counting!
We're at 1 million.
That happens at every memorial, dude.
Over the last 100 years, there's been 8,144,000. There's only 8 million witnesses in general.
Yeah.
No, but
I mean, no, they do count it though. They tell you at the end or the meeting after how many partakers you had. So they do count, but
that count's got to go somewhere.
realistically,
I
yeah.
think the governing body knows.
I know.
That's why they're making all these moves.
I don't know.
They're like, there's too many of them.
I feel like sometimes they might fake it, or sometimes, because if you go to a congregation, you're talking to your friend, they're like, oh, 2 people, did that, and I'm like, oh, 3 people did it. It's like, oh, that's 5 people. But imagine if we all came together and we're like,
right?
I got 5, you got 3, there's 4 over there.
You know what would happen? The next JW broadcast would be a call for donations to have an expansive building project in heaven to allow to allow for more than 144,000. Jehovah just told me.
They're gonna shed some new light.
Yeah, new light.
New light.
Light straight from the top.
It turns out it wasn't 144,000. Anybody who even thinks they're going to heaven.
Take your fears with you.
I always think that, another side note, did anyone else ever find it funny? Like afterwards, I guess, looking back at Stephen Lett and his ridiculous face and being like, he is supposed to be riding with Jesus in Armageddon.
This is so
that goofy Muppet-faced man.
Because I used to I used to love that man. He used to be my favorite.
You know what's so funny? Tony was my favorite.
And
then when I left and I found out he was a drunk, I was like, there it is.
No, was my favorite because he was so animated, and I'm like, wow. And it wasn't because, like, I thought he was funny. It's genuinely, I thought he was, like, on something.
Too much Adderall.
Oh, that Holy Spirit.
has to be, like, high out in his mind. He was just, like, on another level.
Just got these new
And
pills.
Tony, loved Tony too, but like I used to love Brother Let, and now when I watch like videos and stuff, I'm just like, oh my fucking god!
Did it stop
this-
liking him when you
I
found out that he was
hated it.
a broken animatronic?
Hated it.
Oh, broken
But then,
animatronic.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's an interview. I can't remember which YouTuber did it, but there's an interview with his niece.
Yes, I saw
Did you
that.
watch that?
That
And
was
she
very,
like,
very
well,
good.
he's like more normal.
Yeah,
He doesn't
yeah.
really talk like that.
Oh, you know what's funny? I wish I could remember what this video was, but I was watching one video that pulled up one of like the oldest videos from when they started like, you know, making themselves gods in public.
Mm-hmm.
And it had Let on there, and he wasn't nearly as fucking weird.
Right.
Maybe he's just losing it.
Right.
Could be.
I don't
Yeah.
That also very well
remember-
could be.
I don't remember.
last days.
Of the final of the
remember
last.
Maybe
him.
maybe half of his spirit has already been pulled
Oh my
into
God.
heaven. So now he's like, ooh.
Oh my god. Yeah, because I don't remember him being like that when I was like a kid. Like, I don't remember. He had to have started doing that shit when
More
I was
recently.
like, yeah, it was like recent for sure. Because I definitely remembered Tony,
Yeah.
but Brother Let was like a later on person. Anyway,
I liked how blunt Tony was.
yeah.
He was like, "That's gay." It was always so ridiculous.
What was that one thing with the apostates in the match? Yeah.
What's that?
They made the video of.
Oh yeah, when he blew out the match, talking
Oh,
about
my
here are
God.
Jehovah's enemies, and he's like,
Oh,
"They're dead."
so
Get it?
cringy.
I wish I
So
would have seen this.
cringy.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, I gotta show you that one.
It would've-
Secondhand
oh my God.
embarrassment.
I know.
I'm sure at some point it would, like, if I would have kept if I would have gone a little bit further, a part of me would have found some of it like even more silly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like if
Sure.
you had gotten to the end of some of the books that we were supposed to study with you, because like I said, it's funny how normal it starts out. It's like, aren't good things great? Couldn't great things be great forever? Don't you want that? And then if you like stop there and skip to the end, it was like, stop hanging out with your family. It's like, what?
I had like I don't know how I had so many. I remember having a box, and I kept anything you guys gave me in that box. Anything you let me take home, Watchtower, a small Bible.
Any VHSs,
whatever.
or was that not the time?
No, you didn't give me any of that. But I ended up having like 2 Bibles,
Yeah.
and then like a ton of those little. I think they were like little yellow books that had like little different. I guess they had little different like pictures and stuff from
The Bible really teaches.
from the Bible, and they were like this big,
Yeah.
and I had like 10 of those things just sitting in
Oh,
that
wow.
box.
And
I
we're
don't
like,
know.
give those to your friends and family.
I don't know how I got that box out. No, actually, I think I set it on fire.
When was that?
It was at Amy's house.
Well, I think I'm still indoctrinated.
Oh, was this
because
after
I also
like
have all
you?
of my books.
Wait.
Oh my god.
I didn't get rid of
Oh
any
no!
of them.
I am not going to get rid of
No,
mine.
I still
And not
have all
it's
of
not but
them.
mine it's not even about indoctrination. Like I have like bound volumes of like Watchtowers from the 70s and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Like I've realized that when there's some kind of bullshit in there
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want it on anymore, they'll just rip it off of
Yeah,
JW.org,
they take
Watchtower
it off the
Library, all that stuff.
website, yeah.
So I'm like, nah, it still exists. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
This is still got it.
And I imagine like they revise their Bible and stuff like that, you know, more modern translations.
Yeah.
But who knows what else they're doing? Like they snuck
if they came out
snuck
recently.
like whole words into certain places that
true.
changed everything. So I'm like, all right, what about this Bible where you have this? Well, God told me it's different now. Like no.
Wait, so back to the dating. I have like a
Yes.
specific question, I feel. So I know a lot. What did you ask? He's pointing to the bottle of Ray and Nephew. I don't know how many of you have had like bad dating experiences as witnesses. I know I have, and so has Ashton. But Alex, like any JW relationship that you had that now looking back as like a person who's out, is there anything you like noticed about the relationship that made it, I don't know, toxic? Or
I remember this one particular relationship. See, what I seemed to come into contact with a lot was people that wanted a relationship but not a relationship, because of the seriousness of what said relationship would be. You know, you let's say you pronounce someone like your girlfriend. It is not, a couple of months goes by and you're already getting forced to kind of like, hey, so when's the marriage question going to start?
Close it.
So it's like, that lives in the fear, I think, of many women that go in the organization, because it's kind of like, what I've come into contact with was a lot of just kind of like, we're dating, but we're not dating. But at the same time, it's weird. It's like this grayness, and it made things very odd, difficult.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's like you guys are just hovering next to each other.
Yes.
Trying to figure
Sometimes
out. Sometimes
not even next to each other. My ex, I would be with her all the time. We would be alone together. Like, there were no chaperones or anything like that. Aside from, like, you know, if you hung out with other people, it doesn't really count. But I could not sit next to her at one of the conventions. Insane. I remember when I we were going through a rough time, and I was asking her, you know, because she was like, oh, come to my meeting, right? Told me to come to her meeting. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, can I sit with you? And I knew she was going to say no. And she said no. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Ridiculous.
Really sad.
Like, I'm going to go to like this chick who I'm supposed to be with and like in love with, and she's gonna ask me to sit somewhere else.
This random spot.
Yeah. It got worse when I stopped believing. Like, there were times that I would pull up to a place that we were all gonna her and I were gonna hang out, and if she was already there with other friends, she would legit, like, I remember I texted her and I was like, all right, parking now, and she would like text me asking me to wait. Just wait in my car so that they could, you know, so that they'd be gone. Oh, they're almost gone. And I was fed up, and I was like, no. And I just walked up and I said hi to all of them, and
Hell yeah.
Ouch.
There's definitely a strangeness when it comes to dating and the religion.
Yeah.
And no, like mentioned before, this is not something that anyone's instructed with, or how to. It's weird. How to relationship. They don't focus on those things that are important to build a relationship with another human being.
What's so wild when you think about it, like, we didn't know who we were inside that religion. We were all like told to kind of be the same person.
Yes,
the new person.
Cookie cutter shape.
Cookie cutter, like, human being. And so after my relationship, I was married, by the way. Was married, thank God, not anymore. But sorry, Noah. But you know, it just wasn't the vibe, and you kind of don't really get to know the person who you're like spending the rest of your life with, because you're so focused on like all this other bullshit that, like, okay, like, is he a brother? Like, does he like reach out in the congregation? Are we going to service? Are we going to meeting? Are we doing all this stuff? And it's kind of like I woke up one day and I was like, holy shit, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's not a good time to find that out. And I don't think we're encouraged to really like get to know the person. And like you said, you have to date with a chaperone.
For
be
the
alone
witnesses,
with them. You can't even
be alone.
You can't even be alone with the person. And it's like, that's when you know, like, truly, like, what that relationship is. Like, being alone with somebody honestly, like, having nothing to do, just doing nothing with a person. Like, that's such an intimate part of a relationship that they kind of take away, and you kind of, like, get left with, like, a pretender, you know? Like, you don't know this person. They could be pretending in front of all these chaperones and in front of all these people.
Or in general.
With the pressure
right, that's put on them.
Right, exactly. That immense pressure.
I love Jehovah, I swear to God.
Right,
you know,
and then
like,
you get left alone with them, and they're, like, a completely different person.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's, like, talked about enough. You know,
you're essentially acting when you go to the hall. You're not, like, because, like,
right.
I remember they told us to have smiles on in case new people were
that's
there.
what I'm saying.
That's weird and culty.
That's very weird. Because, like, they say for the most part you are who you are, like, when you're at home, and then most of the time when you leave your home, you're, like, acting most of the time. I'm not saying everyone's
sometimes
doing that.
as a witness it was weird. It was like you never knew who you were because you believed in thought crimes, and you thought that God was at all time analyzing you, and that Satan was on the one end being like,
so
you
like
fucking
lion seeking to devour someone.
You were restrained from putting any sort of thought into who you were, and you were pretty much conditioned to put all love into Jehovah, and that in turn caused you not to know how to properly love oneself or another person.
Yeah.
So you had to relearn, not even relearn. You just had to learn all of that after leaving.
I feel like it also causes a lot of issues with. It can cause a lot of issues with self-worth.
Yeah.
Maybe not to sometimes to a bad, like, the really negative degree, but even if it's not to a degree where you're, like, self-loathing, like, where you honestly felt like you couldn't really even be too proud of yourself for any kind of achievements, because, you know, like, who am I? I'm made of dust. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a dust man.
It's like a feeling of, like, worthlessness, like you're nothing without the organization, and you're just, like, meant to serve for the rest of your life. Another weird thing I kind of wanted to talk about too was, like, I remember talking to my therapist about it, but, like, how it kind of turned us into, like, people pleasers, which, you know, like, once you get out and you realize how destructive that could be for yourself, like, constantly saying yes to people, like, not setting boundaries. Like, I learned about those things after. Boundaries before was like, you know, what's that? Like, you gotta love your brothers and forgive them and trust them and...
Rated R movie. Right. No thanks.
Absolutely.
Get behind
me. All of those things. And it just, like, it messes with your identity after. Like, I've had a lot of feelings of not knowing who I am, or, like, what's going on, or where I'm supposed to be in life, and it's such a weird feeling, you know.
You're out of place almost.
Yeah, like, you're sitting in a room of people, but, like, if they didn't experience this certain way of growing up, or if they've never been in contact with it, it kind of just feels so strange. Like, you're just like,
One thing I want to, like, you know, encourage anybody, like, even people who are listening, if they're listening or whatever, about that feeling, is to talk about it anyways. Like, even if you think, like, no one's gonna understand because, you know, say you're the only person in your friends or family group that left. When I first realized that it was all wrong and I thought it was a cult, I was like, the second thought in my head right after this is a cult is, I can't tell anybody about this, because all of my friends and family, like, you know, that I was closest to were still in. But as I started hanging out at different places and talking to, you know, just normal people, you'd be surprised how many people relate, even if they can't fully relate with your exact situation.
Yeah.
Like, there was this friend that I would talk to her about it all the time, and she told me that she was raised as a pretty heavy Baptist, and although it wasn't the same totally, it still also, it messed up her family relationships, it did all this stuff. But she said to be herself and to finally be happy, she just had to push forward, and that things got better. And that really encouraged me. So, you know, all of these negative things, even if they are super personal, at the same time, they're also very human. And people from all different walks of life, it's possible that they'll understand. And if they can't relate, they can surely just be a comfort, you know?
Yeah. Big
Yeah.
time.
And it's also a really good thing to talk about this stuff because it kind of like affirms your beliefs, you know, as a person now, like leaving and realizing like that it was all a lie. It can be like, I don't know, it can kind of be triggering. You can like freeze in the moment, like you can freeze in life because you are like so caught up about what happened to you that you forget that life is still going on.
Yeah.
So talking about it is a really good thing. You got to find ways to get it out so that you can continue to live.
I personally wanted a lion.
Yeah.
Now I know.
I wanted a rhino.
I remember I had this whole plan. I was gonna do all these things over my eternity. I was gonna run with wolves, and I was gonna hang out with lions, and I was also going to get a collection of my friends who were willing and sail the entire world.
I was gonna sail on
I
the
was
back of
gonna
whales.
sail. Yeah,
That sounds
so dope.
That sounds cool. Too
But
bad.
that's the thing.
Too bad I wouldn't have been there.
In my
Aw.
in my head, I was thinking about it. I was like, I was gonna sail the world, like, you know, hang out with Orca. I was gonna go to every continent and explore every continent thoroughly
After you
over
cleaned
an
up,
eternity. Yeah, after we picked up all the dead
all the
bodies,
dead
from,
bodies,
you know,
and even people that you would have known but no longer know because your memory was wiped of them.
Yeah.
Say, side note, why do you imagine that God would make us do it? Thanos was more merciful.
Lazy ass person. Puts you through.
Just snap them out.
Puts you through all of this
Erase
nonsense, and then says, "And now you have to clean." While I've been sitting up here on my ass this entire time.
He really could. He really could have just disappeared them.
Yep.
That's true.
Huh?
Those were like our actual
Never crossed his mind, I
hopes,
guess.
though.
Oh,
Those were
You
what?
know, those were like our actual hopes and dreams
Yeah.
that just kind of like caved
Yeah.
all at
Never came to
once.
fruition. Yeah.
I did want to. I mean, there probably wasn't much more than what you told me to know about it, but I did want to know more about Gehenna.
More about Gehenna?
Yeah, and how that.
I mean,
like
that was like, you mean the second death?
Yeah, but like Gehenna, to some people, they might think of it being like hell, but it's a different.
No, Jehovah's
hell the
Witnesses,
same way.
they don't believe in an immortal soul, so there's
Oh, no, I
nowhere
know
to,
that.
to go like that.
I remember you explaining what Gehenna was.
Yeah, like, well, I guess a deep and endless, dreamless sleep. Like, you don't exist, basically.
Yeah.
You're just gone.
Instead of
Yeah. And if you're bad enough, at the very end, after, you know, the 1,000-year reign, and after all that, if you're really just not gonna work out in this new Stepford world, you're erased. Well, like once and for all, with Satan and the demons.
Wasn't there something about,
I'm sorry. After the 1,000-year reign, right? People have been through all this shit. They put up with all of this,
Yeah.
right? And then there's 1,000 years of peace. It's like, oh no, we're perfect now. And then God's like, remember Satan?
Let him out.
That's like, wait,
That's what I
why?
was gonna say.
Why?
The second freaking test,
Yeah.
like the second tempting.
That's crazy.
Oh my
I thought it was
God.
strange that God would do that. He would go through all of that. The cleaning would be happening, and then He's gonna be like, "This is a nice place. Let me introduce Satan back to it."
And I bet you Satan gets out and he's like, I really hate to do this, but
Should make a skit.
Yeah.
That'd be
He just allows temptation in this paradise that he has.
Bitch, imagine.
Did he learn nothing from Garden of Eden?
Imagine Satan comes back out and treats all of us like fucking Job.
What if you know what would be funny if Satan came out and just was like not doing it, and then all the demons were like, yeah, this is fucked, man. You know, he just didn't do it.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It
Like
doesn't.
you go through this like test that is life, basically, to like be a good person and serve God, and then
Make
you
it.
die. Oh wait, you don't die. Let's
Yeah.
say you like go through Armageddon and you make it.
Or get resurrected.
Right, but like if you die, that's like a free pass. You know,
Yeah.
free ticket to the 1,000-year reign or something.
Especially
but, like,
if you never knew.
right.
Why are we telling people?
Oh my god.
We're
That's
knocking on their
true.
door and we're like, hey, guess what, pal? It's like, Neo!
We're like walking around telling people like, this is how you gotta get into paradise. Knowing
What's
that
paradise?
they'll-
Well,
They'll
and then
just
you go into
get
it.
in. Like if
Yeah.
they just don't know.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So imagine like people who are like, you know, undecided or atheist or this or
Yeah.
that, and or they just haven't heard from the Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe in some other religion. Having to deal with that, like they would have been fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of corrupt, isn't it?
Among many things.
Damn, we really believe
Welcome to
that.
the game. No, you know, like
That's
every time.
Imagine, like, what was gonna happen? Like when he let Satan back out, like what?
Well, it says some people are going to fall.
And he knows
But
that.
like,
Yeah.
what does that mean? So imagine going through this life, a poor JW, like doing everything that they say to do, getting to like through Armageddon, like
Yeah, that's
through
nuts.
the 1,000-year reign, just for God to let Satan loose again.
Yeah.
Just one final
And then
thing.
after you go through all that, you're in the new garden planet, and
Yeah.
a squirrel talks you into eating a grape.
Like, dude,
And you-
imagine like people who went to jail for the organization.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
imagine the trials they went through, like
In
general, like in life, and then you're like, actually, bitch, do
Yeah.
this again one more time.
Yeah.
Like,
And then I remember I brought that up when I was still into my mom, and I was like, that's kind of a disturbing thought. I still believed it, but I was just like, you know, concerned. And she was like, well, I mean, we'll be perfect by then and stuff,
But
and
that's
so
not-
it'll be
but that's not the
easier to
point.
do
No.
it. But I'm like, it still says that some people are gonna
Which means
fall away.
Which means, are
Yeah.
you perfect?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They have to be because
Adam and
you know
Eve
even
were
Adam and Eve were
perfect,
considered
yeah.
perfect. Satan was considered perfect.
yeah,
So that's a weird question. What does perfection actually mean?
yeah.
If
Within
Satan
that.
was perfect and the angels were perfect,
Mhm.
and him and a third of them said this is weird and left heaven to
Yeah, to that
get with
Interesting.
our
To
human
that
women
point,
because
perfect
human
is
women are better than
not what they're
a
looking
bunch
for.
of old angel dudes. I guess it would have been weird up there
Mhm.
if we're to believe the
said
illustrations.
but they said that angels don't have like genders.
Yeah,
So like, but they all came down to
You're sorry.
have sex with
They gave themselves
female.
peckers.
yeah,
women,
that's the
like,
thing. They
That's so strange.
what I feel like if you know if the story were to be believed, it would just be that they were up there and they saw how Earth was and they were curious about it and materialized. And when they were in human form, maybe they were like, "Oh, she's really gorgeous."
They weren't like turning into women and trying to bang earthly men. You know what I mean?
No,
It
no.
was just men into women.
Well, it says they have
Greek
no
gods are
gender,
doing that.
but I mean, even God is referred to as a he. Like,
That's true.
and plus, you remember all the illustrations of the angels in
They
the
were all
watchtowers? They were all
bearded
old
white
bearded
men.
white dudes.
Yep. Yep.
Which I mean, I would go down to earth too.
Super muscular.
You know, I'd be like, "This is a sausage fest." Like,
I wonder if they're ever going to change that. They're going to throw some, like, you know, a few yellows.
no shot.
A few.
I'm calling
few
no
bucks.
shot on that.
A few browns.
They'll sooner stop. They'll sooner stop illustrating angels. Because remember, even when they showed like the illustration of like the 144,000 people from Earth of all walks and all nations,
There was
bunch of
one
white
black
dudes,
guy.
white beards. No, I'm talking about the ones that were like in heaven.
Yeah,
Once they were up there, it was like we're
They
perfect. We
turned
get to be
white,
white.
And they turned into men.
Yes, yes, we're white. White is white.
They all turned into white men with
Bizarre.
beards. They got to keep their beards up there.
I have a question. How, like, if you guys were dating, or what you guys would be considered dating, like, if y'all wanted to go like see a movie or something, were you able to, or if you did, were you somewhere with a chaperone or something?
Chaperone.
Often a chaperone. Meeting
Yeah.
in a public place. I always like was told was sort of like matter of conscience, as long as you guys didn't arrive together, like you didn't drive there together, you know, you meet at a
Yeah.
restaurant and like, you know,
As
that
long
kind of
as you
thing.
you
don't
can't
fuck in
even
the car on the
No.
way there.
Nope.
No.
Yeah,
It's a
you
sin.
can't drive
It's like
together.
you both have to waste gas.
Good Lord,
Yeah.
if anyone saw you in your car and there was no one in the car, oh
Yeah.
my
Oh, yeah.
goodness,
Forget
the
it.
hell
They're
would've
calling
been
your
raised.
elders.
Oh my gosh. I had a friend
Actually, I have
who
a
I
story.
found out, I had a friend that I found out an elder from her hall told her mom that her and I were dating. We used to call each other like brother and sister. Like we've been in the car together. Did not matter. We'd go to movies and all kind of things. And her mom knew that, and her mom was like, "No, they're not." And he was like, "Listen, I've raised however so many
Oh my
kids, and I
God,
know
yeah.
I can tell." And I'm just laughing because, like, no, like
I've
they're
had that
not even
problem
slightly
too.
were we dating.
Me and my friend Abner, like we went to
Oh.
the same high school, same Kingdom Hall, like so we knew each other. We hung out all the time. I think he's like 2 years younger than me, so very much like little bro vibes.
Mhm.
But it was always like, oh, you're dating, like he's in love with you, like you guys are dating, and it's like, no, dude, like we're just friends. That was another thing. You couldn't have co-ed friendships, like you couldn't have boy-girl friendships. That's not a thing to the Jehovah's Witnesses. If you're a young person, you don't have a guy friend as a girl. Like it's just, it's not okay. They don't believe in it.
And if they do, they keep that on the hush hush.
Correct. Everybody you were with, you were seen as like dating them, and it, I don't know, that was weird.
Yeah.
No innocence in friendships.
It really isn't. Like they make it so weird.
So I actually remember there was this one occasion where there was this situation that happened between me and a worldly girl, and what had happened is I had seen this really, she was very beautiful. We were hanging out at my brother's house, and we were all, I think they were my brother's friends. Somehow we became friends that night, and then later down the years, we somehow she ended up coming to the congregation, and stayed away from her for I think 3 weeks. I was very nervous, but I saw that she was studying with one of the sisters, and she had been doing this for some time, and we actually ended up bumping into her, like trying to get out of the aisle, and we're like, "Oh my God, you're you," and I'm like, "I'm me," and we were just kind of like starting to, we're like, "Oh my gosh, this is wild that you're studying and whatnot," and then she invites me to dinner, but well, like not by myself. With like there's like 13 people that are going out to, I believe it was Johnny Brown's, and I ended up going. They ended up sitting us like across from each other, but like there were so many people there, and ended up having a great time. We all laughed, we all chilled and whatnot, and ended up going home. The next meeting, I was pulled into the back room, and basically was being questioned, and they were asking essentially, it was like, were you involved with this new person that's been studying, the girl that I had met, and they were pretty much trying to inquire if I had any eyes towards her or anything involved that I've had, because she was no longer wanting to study with them. And basically what they told me is that the sisters that were having the study with her were basically trying to figure out, why were you hanging out with Alex? You know, he's not doing so well in the religion. He's we're in one, you're still a study, and you can't be we have to be baptized in order to try. And basically she was fed this entire list of things that had to be accomplished, in essence, to date someone. And it really rubbed her the wrong way, that this was very strange, not natural by any means to her. And she ended up leaving and not jiving with that. And I remember the brothers telling me that, the sister's very mad with you. In essence, they didn't say it was your fault, but they were saying this is your fault and to be careful next time. And
That's so dumb.
I was just kind of like, oh my goodness, like,
that is so stupid.
and it made me so mad, because I was like, I had no intentions, any at all. I was, it felt
but
gross.
Like, even
That
if
is
you
gross.
did though, that's so fucking normal. Like men and like you're attracted to women, she's attracted to men. Like there's nothing wrong with, even if you did see her and you're like, oh, she's cute, she's nice, like I like her. There should be nothing wrong with just like having someone in mind. Like,
Yeah.
it's completely fine. And for them to step in and make that so fucking dramatic, like he has to be in good spiritual standing, like to someone who's barely a part of the organization yet, was their fault entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was mad at you, but she handled it like a child.
Right.
Like that's
Yeah.
wow. It
Now
was
I'm
the
gonna go
craziest
to
thing.
your elders so they can talk to you
Yeah.
about what? About like what? I'd be like, what is the point of this conversation?
It felt so weird.
For lack of a better term, like the cock blocking is absurd. Like, wow.
You don't come
Wow.
in enough to get pussy.
Yeah.
Shit.
After marriage.
It's crazy. It's
That's insane. The fact that you guys went to dinner.
Yeah.
I think I know the situation you're talking about, or who, and I didn't know. If I'm right, I didn't know that was the situation, but I always saw there was something like there, and it kind of like confused me when nothing did, and I'm like, shit, it's because sister busybody cockblock.
Yeah.
It's wild. Did you pay attention to it all? Because I'm wondering, how is your family or your mom reacting to when your sister and Jovi were dating?
Angry.
Okay,
My
I'm curious
mom was
about that.
angry. She, one, because my sister was living her own kind of like life, and kind of like living her secret life. And basically, my mom was never good with surprises that were bad. I don't think anyone is. Particularly with her, she loses her. She goes off the cuff she can go off the cuff real quick, and just raise hell. So she wasn't happy. Over time, she got used to him, and was kind of accepting him, because she realizes like she loves her daughter. Doesn't want to lose her daughter, and but like as the years gone by, she's more and more accepting of anything. Like,
isn't that something?
Yeah.
It's interesting how Satan's world breaks down these witnesses.
It makes you see that it's not as bad as what you're being told.
No, but you know what's funny is your mom gave me a talk. I don't know if I ever told you about that. She pulled me into her room and gave me a talk about when I was dating your other sister. But she was so sweet.
What did she say?
She was so nice about it. She was basically saying, like, the thing is that you guys are not past the bloom of youth, and you have to think about this and that. And then it was like a couple of days later that she told me that your sister told me that she wanted to, focus on her spirituality and all that stuff. And it was a text message. And I got that text message while I was sitting in the hallway in front of Mr. Shimmer's class.
Wow.
And I was like, on my little BlackBerry. I responded. I was like, that sounds great, I hope the best for you.
Reluctantly.
Fucking
The cock blocking.
Yeah.
doesn't end.
I was really surprised when she got married.
To my cousin. To family. Not blood, though. Not blood. Relations. It's related.
Oh, jeez.
That was funny when you told me that. I was just like,
Still a shocker.
Yeah, it is. It
You
is.
saw him at the family reunions, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
When the baby's coming.
Well, I feel like that's a wrap on that subject.
All right.
All right. Hey, everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
fare thee well.
Good one. Be easy.
Live long and prosper.